Hey, folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. This video for Wednesday, June 15th, 2011 is sponsored by Realtic. All right, guys, let's get right into the mix today. We have a huge down day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 175 points, NASDAQ down 42, and S&P down about 21 on the day. Basically 1.5 to 1.7% drops across the board, as this is a monumental reversal day from yesterday's rally. Note how on the charts we started out with a gap down. Initially we rose higher. This is because initially the dollar pulled back just a little bit. Now the markets started out to the downside today on this gap down because there were issues with Greece. All right, we're seeing violence in Greece, major protests, riots, and ultimately, bottom line is Greece is going to have to default on their debt issue. I mean, it's going to happen, folks. I'm telling you right now. The question is when. Does it happen now, in the next few days? Does it happen in a month from now or in a couple months from now? My guess is sooner than later. Bottom line is, once it defaults, they're going to try to contain it so it doesn't spread to Portugal and Spain and Ireland and these other countries. And if they can contain it, then it's okay. They know it's going to default. Trust me on this one. The EU knows they're going to have to default on Greece. Greece is going to default on their debt. But the question is, can they contain it and hold it off long enough to let Spain and Portugal and the rest of these countries get their house in order so it doesn't happen to them? All right, and again, it's think of Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and those type of things happening and what it caused on all the other financials. The other financials almost collapsed, and the Federal Reserve have had to step in. Now, again, the EU may step in a little bit, but ultimately they know what's happening. The question is, can these other countries get their houses in order? So, markets again, as the dollar soared, as the euro collapsed, and remember, when there's issues in Europe, the euro is going to collapse down. And if we take a look at the FXE, which is the euro ETF, I mean, look at this thing today. This is a huge, and I repeat, huge drop. We're talking about a currency here. Look at this drop on this currency. The FXE is the ETF for the euro right here. And then if we go to the UUP, look at this move up today in the dollar. The dollar is just ripping today. Probably one of the biggest moves I've seen in the dollar in a long time. A long time. You do not see a move this big very often, folks. And again, you are seeing it. We are trading at the highs of the day. The markets are essentially right around the lows of the day at this point. And again, initially the markets gapped down because the dollar was opening sharply higher. Then the dollar faded a little bit. That let the markets bounce. But once the dollar started to rip higher dramatically, which happened right around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, this market just collapsed right down. And notice how this big downward motion right here, where we went all the way below the 127 even number level. And by the way, that's a perfect little pierce of a double bottom right here, triple bottom even, although we are trading lower now. That coincided on the dollar with this dramatic move up right here at 11:30. So this move up right here, sharp move in the dollar, was exactly what was going on here. The market reversing the opposite way and collapsing down like that. So it's still all tied. I mean, the markets are going to continue to move in the opposite direction of the dollar. The dollar is going to be the dog. Think about the dog wagging its tail, the tail being the markets. And obviously, it all stems from what's going on in Europe right now and the craziness. Now, we also got economic news today that was not great. The manufacturing index was very, very poor. To see that is not a good thing. It was actually a negative number. That obviously put a little bit of fear, but it's ultimately as much fear as the economic numbers can be on this market. It's more so in relation to the dollar. The dollar is the key here to everything. And as the dollar roars higher on a weak euro from the issues in Europe, that's again going to kill the markets. So again, you could see yesterday's nice rally. It was a great rally yesterday. We have now wiped out the entire rally from yesterday and actually gone to a pivotal double bottom here from last Friday's low. In fact, look at right here. Yes, you pierced it, then you regained, and then you're touching it right here. Now, if we close below this line right here, if you close below 127 today, you should hit 125 within the next day or two. All right, that's 125 to 125.50. I have that penciled in as a major level on the spiders, 125 to 125.50 on the SPY. And again, remember the S&P is mirrored by the ETF, which is the SPY. So again, if you follow the SPY on an intraday basis, you're essentially looking at the S&P. It's just the ETF that tracks it. All right, so wild day today, folks. There have been some good scalps. There's been some tough scalps out there. The swing trades, I have to say, we took some great profits yesterday on some swing trades on MOTR and Morgan Stanley. That was a no-brainer now looking back at it. Yesterday doing it, I said, you know what, I don't want to be greedy. Let's make sure we take our 5-10% profits here over the last couple days in profits on these stocks. And that turned out to be a no-brainer and ultimately a great decision. And again, this is something that I have to go over with my members, and I'll go over here briefly with you guys watching this free video. In this market, when you're in a down cycle, and by the way, if you go back to the daily chart, I called this exact high to the day, to the almost penny on the SPY as being the pivotal top in this market. Since then, look at this market, what it's done on the daily chart of the SPY. So again, nailed that. And again, as long as you're in a downward cycle, which is what we've been in since I made that call, you have to assume you cannot be super greedy on the upside. You take profits when they're given, and then you look to short. Then you buy lows and pivotal key double bottoms and so forth, and you get the bounce. You take profits, and then look to short again. It's a rinse and repeat type cycle. If you don't understand this, then join the Research Center. We offer a free trial, a 7-day free trial, no less. You get a full week of action with profits and trade calls and market alerts and videos and you name it coming out every single day. And you get all that for a free trial for 7 days. And if you like it, then you stick with us and you continue on. If you don't, you cancel with no obligation. That's simple, folks. All right, even a caveman can do it, as the commercial for Geico says. In any case, going back to the intraday chart again, folks, you're still holding this little pivot double bottom. Notice this again. You're holding this little line, even though you pierced it here on a flush. This was a panic flush. You actually have a little bit of a bottoming tail there, but honestly, you want to be very careful buying a bottoming tail like this, even though you are holding a little bit of a low here. In any case, let's take a look at some stocks that are getting crushed today. We have stocks that did very, very well today, giving up, of course, all of their gains today. We also have some stocks that are on the run. We had some good trades this morning because some of the Chinese stocks started to run, and I'll give you one of those trades that I gave out. I actually gave it on Twitter as well. So kind of interesting there, just a note here, folks. But in any case, just a note here, if we go to a couple of the leading stocks, Chevron, CVX, down $2 and change, eclipsing yesterday's entire move, although it hasn't taken out this pivot low. In fact, this pivot low, if we flush to it later today, would probably be a good scalping opportunity to the long side. So we'll watch that one closely. Exxon Mobil getting smacked down $1.50. Notice how the low of the day, look at this, guys. See how you could have bought this low of the day right here? See this pivot low, and then on the flush right here, if you bought that as a scalp trade, look at the profits you made. Look at the size of that bounce, a monstrous bounce for a day trade to the long side there. So again, really tremendous in terms of finding a level to buy, and you could just go by the double bottoms, go by the double tops, go by pivot lows, key patterns, prices, and times. All of these combined are your answer to making money in any type of market, whether you're swing trading, you're investing, or day trading. All right, again, join the Research Center, the 7-day free trial. You'll learn all this stuff. I don't care if you're a swing trader, if you're a day trader. We go over it all. We give trades both swing trading and longer-term investing as well as day trading. It's all for you. All right, let's take a look at a couple other stocks. Apple Computer getting hammered, basically giving up all the gains as well. Notice how there's a little bit of a gap fill area right here. Just draw your line right across, and there you go. So gap fill obviously holding here today on Apple right now. Market seems to be at a lot of support areas down here on various stocks, whether it's Chevron getting close to that double bottom, Exxon is at the double bottom, Apple at a gap fill here closing in on a double bottom. So I wouldn't be surprised, just looking at these key stocks, the market may try to hold this lower level. Maybe it goes and retests the lows, but at least according to the charts here, there's a lot of support down here on various leading stocks. All right. What else? I'm scanning down my list. Some stocks that are doing better than the market. Amazon down $1.40. That's only down 0.75%, so that's holding up. Even Research in Motion is hanging in there. As bearish as that stock has been lately, it is only down 50 cents today. And one thing about Research in Motion, folks, tomorrow after the close, they report earnings. It should be very, very interesting to see that earnings announcement. Let me scan through here. JPMorgan getting hammered today. That's another stock. The financials have had a big bounce lately, but they are all coming in today on the weakness in the market. You can see right here the huge bounce up. You're coming into double bottom. I sold Morgan Stanley yesterday. We'll go to the Morgan Stanley chart. I sold it yesterday for a beautiful profit. You're now coming down into a double bottom. I may be tempted to buy a double bottom down here as a swing trade. For those of you in the Research Center, of course, if I do it, if I decide it looks good enough, I will put out an alert to you. As soon as I do it, I give the alert out and I send it via phone to your text messages or your email that I'm posting something there, and you can obviously log in and check it out. And again, that's what's so cool about the hot charts is like every trade I do on a swing trade basis will go up there and you'll get an alert to your phone. So it's a sweet little gig right there, I think, personally. All right, Morgan Stanley, again, if it comes down a little bit more, I like it here. I like the bottom it put in. Any retrace back down is going to be a good level. Some other stocks in motion today. Let's take a look and let me just scan through. Let's see, Intel's down about 2%, Microsoft's down 2%. So you can see a lot of tech stocks very, very weak. The NASDAQ was the strongest index yesterday, but it's giving up the entire gains today. What I thought was interesting about the NASDAQ and the Qs, remember the NASDAQ 100, just 2 days ago, this thing hit the 200 moving average and got a sharp bounce. Today, it's right back down there. So if this closes below, it's not a breakdown, though. Don't forget, guys, you have to use confirmation here on this level. Trust me on that one. All right. So again, confirmation must be used on this chart of the Qs before you think it's a breakdown. We'll go over that tonight in the nightly video as well. There's a lot of things I'm going to cover in the nightly video. So again, join the Research Center to make sure you're watching that video tonight. I do 30+ minute videos every single night during the week when the market is open, and we go over trade setups, we go over the key market analysis, technicals, proprietary techniques, which are really key as well. All right, so we'll watch that and see how it goes tonight. Let's go over one or two more things here. Let's go back to the SPY. The market's kind of still holding right off the lows of the day here. You can see the low pivot right here. You're now really battling with this low, double bottom low right here. You're actually below it by a little bit. If you confirm below this blue line, you probably go to the low little pivot low right down here. Fun market, wild market. It is a swing trader's market, folks, and this is being shown to us. We're making plenty of money in this market, both on the long side and the short side, on a swing trade basis. When you're buying a stock and holding it for a couple days, that's when you're banking 5% or 10%, and we're finding that out more and more. Investors are getting crushed, and obviously people that don't know what they're doing are getting crushed. So you need to join the Research Center 7-day free trial. We look forward to having you with us, and again, take care, folks. Let's make some more money this afternoon and over the rest of the week.